What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. We are back. It's been a few months. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. This is Showdown. This is the first game of the playoffs. Blazers versus Nuggets. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, what's been up with you, man? How you been doing? How's your DFS been treating you?
Yeah, pretty good, man. I've been playing a lot of NBA main slate this season, just trying to get some strategies down. I think I got a lot of good progress this year. Made some decent money and still building up that bankroll, so it's nice. But excited to be back.
You've been crushing NBA this year for sure, like main slate specific.
Yeah, man. I tried learning a couple new strategies. Sometimes it's not always bad to play the cheap chalk, So.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I moved across the country. I'm in Florida now. Moved from LA to Florida, so settled in a little bit more now, and we're hoping to do a few of these shows a week.
Yeah, obviously, I'm excited, man. NBA playoffs is the one to do it for too, because everything's just so much more consistent, and everyone has a reason to play. We don't have to get into this bullshit garbage time stuff anymore. So
no, I'm been excited. So frustrating this year with the NBA when it comes to that. Just random players not playing and all the blowouts has been really difficult for sure. All right, well, let's get into it. It's what do we got about? We got about an hour to lock. A little bit of a later game today. That's pretty nice. I'm on the East Coast now, so it's been interesting being on the East Coast with sports and things. I'm getting used to that, but I actually really like it for sure. Let's move over to let me share my screen here. All right, so our bird's eye view here. Obviously, we're doing Portland at Denver. Denver's a slight favor here. This is going to be a pretty close game. I actually really think Portland can take this one. What are your thoughts looking at this based on the line and the ownership? And this is a decent over-under. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring here. What are your thoughts on this matchup? What do you think can win this one? Do you think Portland has a shot?
Yeah, I really do think Portland has a shot. Denver's a great team, but they're running pretty thin. We've been talking about a little bit about the shortened season and kind of the impact. You're saying that we see a bunch of people sitting, and normally I'd say that's been bad for basketball, but we've seen what happens. I mean, we lost Jamal Murray. Who knows when he's coming back? And Will Barton's out. This team has so many people out that their rotations are going to be so tight. And I don't know, man. Like, it's going to come down to really Jokic and, MPJ. Is he going to have a hot shooting night? If he doesn't, then I don't know if there's enough to keep them in this game. But Portland has multiple shooters across the board. So we'll see. I mean, it really depends on which Denver team we're going to get today. So
based on
it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, it will be. Based on the ownership I'm seeing, it's really surprising how low Damian Lillard is owned at the captain spot. I mean, I don't think it's accurate. It's coming in under 10% for him. He's like the fourth highest owned captain. If that is accurate, that's great because I'm gonna plug the captain so much. I think Jokic is obviously he's like double or triple the second highest owned captain. Mm-hmm. So for me, if I'm doing tournaments, obviously my cash or my single entry is gonna be Jokic at captain. There's no doubt about that. Along with Lillard in the flex, I'm not gonna get cute there, but I'm personally gonna get cute in my tournament lineups. You know, I'm doing the $1.20 max, and you know there's 14. I think there's 14 or 15,000 people in that. I don't want to just plug in Jokic. I want, if Lillard is at 8% at captain, I really want to get heavy with him. We'll get into our captain choices here. Obviously, I think I kind of spoiled it for us, but if people are building right now, you guys got about 55 minutes. To me, that's a really important thing to start thinking about when you're looking at this. Look at the ownership of the captain, and then go down from there. So this matchup here, Portland is 19th in pace. They're second in offensive rating. Denver is 27th in pace and 6th in offensive rating. Like average defenses, very slow-paced offenses. It's going to come down to Jokic versus Dame. I think Dame can absolutely crush. Any thoughts on how can Jokic? What's the path for Jokic to not be the optimal captain here? Does Nurkic have to just completely stop him, or do you think that Dame can just absolutely crush tonight? What are your thoughts on the Dame versus Jokic aspect?
I really like Dame for GPPs just because of the immediate leverage that he gives you. I think the issue that you're running into is just the opportunity cost. What's the pricing like? You got Dame at 11.4 and Jokic at 12.2. So, you know, by going with Jokic, you have a little bit less money to spend. And I don't think that paying down for Dame is giving you that much to free back up. So I think that's why we're going to see a little bit more inflated ownership on Jokic, which to me makes Damian Lillard a little bit better of a play, right? If people aren't going to be playing him at captain because they can just pay up a little bit more and get Jokic, who's probably going to have a triple-double. He's going to get all the usage, right? I mean, Facundo Campazzo is their starting point guard, and you know he's not a terrible point guard, but he's the third guy on the roster for a reason. So we're going to see a lot of Jokic point guard tonight. So I think that's kind of where people are coming from. But again, Damian Lillard can go out and score 55 points and just ruin everything from there. So I definitely think he's a viable captain tonight.
Remember earlier in the season when we went heavy on Campazzo, when no one had ever heard of him, and he didn't see a minute, even though he's projected like 20 minutes. Well,
we finally get to play him.
That's not going to happen tonight. This guy could get up to 40 minutes potentially. I mean, Austin Rivers, we're in injuries right now, so let's talk about that. Obviously, Barton and Dozier are out, but Austin Rivers was questionable. Looks like the reports are coming out saying that he will play. I don't know how many minutes are you seeing him projected for? I mean, I'm seeing him at 30 right now, like an average between a couple sites.
Yeah, I got him about 33, 34, and I don't disagree with that. I think we're going to see a lot of Austin Rivers. I mean, Monty Morris, we don't know how healthy he is, and Shaq Harrison is, I don't know, he's not really that good at basketball, so it's the playoffs. I think Austin Rivers at least gives you some shooting upside, so I think that's why he's going to be the guy that's
playoffs. You kidding me?
I think he's going to be the guy that gets the minutes, and obviously Campazzo. But Austin Rivers at 4,800, I don't think we're going to see any limited playing time from him.
So Austin Rivers is 4,800, Campazzo 6,800. If you had to choose one guy out of these two guys, you save 2,000 on Rivers, but you get, in my opinion, you get a higher upside with Campazzo. Where would you place Campazzo? Is it Campazzo more of or is Rivers more of a tournament play? How are you handling these two guys? You play them together?
Yeah, I think you can play them together. Again, it's going to be a tight rotation. They don't really have more than 9 guys, I don't think, and I don't expect to see Vincent Kanker or whatever his name is playing tonight, right? So if that means Austin Rivers plays 3 more minutes, so they don't have to play Bull or whatever, I think I think it's going to Rivers. So I think you can play both of them. But Campazzo is my guy. He's going to start at the point guard position, and I mean, he's going to facilitate through Jokic. So he's going to have high assist upside and potential opportunities to shoot. So I love Campazzo, and I'm going to keep playing him. I've been playing him a lot in GPP over the past couple weeks in main slate, and he hasn't let me down yet.
So when it comes to starters, obviously we got Dame, CJ, Powell, Covington, and Nurkic. We got Campazzo, Rivers, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Jokic. Anybody jump out to you here as kind of a sneaky play? What are your thoughts on Norman Powell? Are you into Robert Covington with the super low usage rate? What are your thoughts on some of these, third or fourth guys in the starting rotation? Any interest in Aaron Gordon? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a decent interest in some of these guys. The problem is I think we're gonna be stuck more on the studs and kind of value type build here, right? Because we want Jokic, we want Damian Lillard, and if we're not playing one of those guys, then we're building out to have a guy like CJ McCollum or Nurkic instead, right? So I just don't know if we're gonna be able to save enough salary to still play Covington or a guy like Powell. We're gonna have to come down here into the 4,400 and lower range, I think, after we get Lillard and Jokic in there.
All right, let's get right into the breakdown here. Break it down. All right. So we're looking at this Excel sheet here. This is kind of a bird's eye view of the slate. We get to look at projected minutes, usage, ceiling, floor. This kind of helps you. This helps me really figure out where I want to go with things. So anything jump out to you here when it comes to usage? You see Campazzo at 13. I think that's gonna go up. That's that's for the season. He's getting a lot more usage, I'm sure, lately. Robert Covington is just not a guy that I'm usually interested, especially at 6,000. So what jumps out to you here? This is all based on it's sorted from top to bottom based on projected points. So anything jump out to you when you're looking at this?
I mean, I think Yusuf Nurkic at 1.3 fantasy points per minute is kind of interesting. I mean, that's up there with Damian Lillard. So I think it depends on how many minutes he gets, but he comes a little bit more interesting of a play to me, just kind of seeing that on the season here. But other than that, nothing too surprising, man. I mean, Damian Lillard and Jokic, they're going to be up there dominating most of the projections, usage, and just stats in general. So again, I'm interested to see how we're going to be able to build around those guys, because I still want to get a guy like Michael Porter Jr. in there, right? I think he's going to be another very large piece of this offense, right? He's going to have to score the ball to keep, or score points to keep them in this game. So I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting with those prices to build.
This could be his time to shine. Porter Jr. This could be his time. I have a feeling that it might be. So we're looking at the top tier guys: Jokic, Lillard, Porter, Nurkic, McCollum. Gun to your head, you have to fade one of these guys. Who's your least favorite here in this top tier?
I mean, I think it's between Nurkic and CJ. I think both guys have great opportunity to go off, but they have enough people on the Trailblazers offense that some of the fantasy production's diluted a bit, right? And I don't know. I think Damian Lillard, if you're gonna try and jam somebody in there, he's the guy to go to. But if you're gonna fade Dame, then obviously run CJ. But I think those are the two that I'm gonna have less exposure on than the field. Yeah.
So let's look at this middle tier. I think this is where things get a little confusing. I mean, obviously we have Campazzo. I like him a lot. You've got Rivers hovering at 4,800. But then you got guys like Norman Powell at 7,400. I feel like he's just a little too expensive, but we know that he can go off. We've seen it happen. Robert Covington, like I said, I just don't love him. Aaron Gordon at 6,200. Who are we going to have to focus on boom or bust guys? Or I'm sorry, high price guys and really low dart throws like Anthony Simons and Enes Kanter or Jermichael Green, guys like that. Are we going to be able to get to any of these middle of the road guys?
I think honestly, I don't think you're too bad off playing a guy like Facundo Campazzo at captain. If you do something like that, you free up a lot of your ability to jam some of these higher end guys in there, and not necessarily have to drip down or drop down to a guy like Shaq Harrison or JaVale McGee, right? So again, like I'm really scared to play some of those guys because I mean JaVale McGee is going to have board upside. He's probably going to have some minutes, so I don't mind taking a couple stabs at him down there. But I mean, if you start playing guys like Robert Covington, Norman Powell, then you have to start playing those other guys at the bottom end of the spectrum. And Facundo Campazzo is really the only one that I want to take that stab on, just because I know he's going to get point guard minutes at probably close to 34, 35. So that's where I'm going with it. I don't want Robert Covington. He's not going to dominate the ball, and he has to get boards and he has to get steals. So, Campazzo is going to get assists. So that's going to be my strategy going into this tonight.
Would you pull up Aaron Gordon's last few games? Can you look at his history? I want to look into him a little bit because he does have. I mean, there's just not a lot of guys on this team that can absolutely crush besides Porter and Jokic. They're really going to need a guy like Aaron Gordon tonight. And I want to look at what he's been up to recently. I mean, he's only projected for 20. Is that right? 24 fantasy points. That seems really.
Yeah, I mean, his role since being on the team is just to add a little bit of defensive stability. I mean, they've been running Paul Millsap at that position, who's been averaging like 20, 22 minutes a game, right? Yeah. So they never really had much of an anchor there. And that's really what he provides. I do think he is an interesting play because he's a 3-and-D guy. He does have the ability to go out and make a couple 3-pointers, and then we know how he can score in the paint. But again, that's Jokic territory. So I think it kind of limits what he does. But I think you can. I'd rather play him than Robert Covington.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about guys like Monty Morris here. Mm-hmm. He's 2,800. He basically, if I didn't limit him in Fantasy Cruncher, he was in like 80% of my lineups.
Yeah.
Just based on my captain choices and things like that. Obviously, I'm not super excited about playing him in more than 30 or 40% of my lineups, but we're going to have to make a choice here. At 2,800, 19, 20 projected minutes, his fantasy points per minute, he's not very good, 0.78. Usage is not great, 17, but it's not like a guy like Robert Covington. Thoughts on Monty Morris? What would you be comfortable getting exposure on him in a 20 max or 40 lineups that you're doing tonight?
I'd be fine with close to double the field on him. We don't know who's going to start yet, right? We expect Austin Rivers to start. We expect Facundo Campazzo to start at point guard. There's a good possibility if Monty Morris is healthy and back in it that he could get point guard run, or he could start at point guard. So I definitely think he's in play. And again, they have such a tight rotation that they're going to need guard minutes. I mean, again, who else do they have on the roster to play? Yeah, I mean, it's Campazzo, Monty Morris, Austin Rivers, and Shaq Harrison. And I don't think Shaq Harrison's getting any minutes. So you're talking about pretty significant minutes here, man. And if he's really projected for 18 to 19 at 2,800, we've taken stabs on worse. I mean, Shaq Harrison's getting 17 projected minutes on what I have currently. So maybe I'm being a little too slanted on him.
I mean, if he's $1,000, dude, you just need you just need 15 points, 15 fantasy points out of him potentially if you've got the right combo. So it's worth taking a shot at Shaq Harrison, in my opinion, but I'm not going too heavy on him. I think let's look at this projection here. Let's look at his ownership projection if I can find it. Where's he at? He's like 21%. Does that feel high to you?
They got a 57 on mine.
57?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know, man. Like again,
really high to me. I know he's $1,000, but my god, that's I would not feel comfortable doing that.
Again, I think we need to see what's going to happen, right? Is Austin Rivers actually helpful or healthy? Looks like he's available to play and he's going to play. So we're just waiting on the starting lineups. I think that's going to dictate a lot of what we're going to do here when it comes to the guard rotation. But there's just not enough people here, and they're going to need these guys to play minutes. So I think you're fine running either one of them. I wouldn't necessarily, put Shaq Harrison and Monty Morris in the same lineup, but it might be viable if you think you're going to get 20 minutes out of both guys. So I don't know. I just Shaq Harrison's a little bit risky for me, I think. But
Denver's always been we've done a lot of Denver showdown games. And that was earlier in the season, obviously, but they're just hard to predict, in my opinion. Maybe things have changed a little bit, and we're getting into the playoffs. It's going to be a little bit easier now, I think, after we're in game 4, game 5 to really see what's going to happen. But Denver has always scared me. Like, I just don't know what they're going to do. I don't know who's going to play, who's going to get the minutes besides the top 3 or 4 players. So it always scares me to put all my eggs into like a Monty Morris basket or like a Shaq Harrison. What are your thoughts on Carmelo tonight? I don't know why. I just feel really good about Carmelo tonight. Maybe it's just like a narrative thing. I think, playoffs. Is this his last year? There could be some narrative there. I don't think it should be his last year. He's playing pretty decent. He's at 4,400, 23% usage. I kind of like him at that price tag, and I think he's going to be a little bit underowned. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's a great play at 4,400. I think the only reason why he's going to be underowned is just because Austin Rivers is $400 more, right? Yeah. So I don't know, and it's gonna be interesting. I think Carmelo Anthony is gonna get a lot of volume tonight, right? They're gonna need somebody else to put up points outside of Dame and CJ. And I don't know if Nurkic and Cantor are gonna win the Jokic battle, right? So to your point, I think you're better off not putting all your eggs in one basket and getting a little bit of exposure to a guy like Carmelo Anthony. But
you want to know what my exposure to him tonight is?
What is it?
75%.
When you open with that, I'm just immediately prepared for something.
75%. So, if he's got a bad game, I'll just close the laptop and move on and enjoy the game.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, look, maybe every once in a while you just get a feeling about something. I'm just like, Carmelo at 4,400, he's a 30% ownership. I don't have a problem.
Has he ever been to the playoffs? Like, yeah, I mean, that might be a good point. Like, even then, like, what maybe it was his rookie year. I don't know, bro. This has been like 30 years. So
yeah, I know. Is he a 2002 class? 2003? I don't know. Anybody in the chat, let us know, because he's getting
old.
LeBron
was, right?
Derrick Jones Jr.
No. Yeah. Probably not.
I actually kind of forgot he's
is he? We got to see if he's even active. Right. Again, they have everybody kind of healthy. So you're gonna have Enes Kanter running. Derrick Jones, what does he run? The 4, sometimes the 3, but they have Norman Powell now. So I don't even know if we'll see him unless somebody's sick.
He's projected for like 2 minutes. I would not play him, Brandon. That's just me.
I mean, but
one
to
lineup.
Be fair, I'm running a lineup right now on with the Boston game with Jabari Parker at 1% because he was projected for like 6 minutes. So
yeah,
you can get lucky, but I don't advise it tonight.
I personally, he's not even in my player pool.
Yeah, he plays defense, right? That's what he's there for. So even then, he's just not a high upside player.
All right, so any of these guys at the bottom, I mean, Enes Kanter, if he's really only getting 15 minutes at 5,000, I don't even know if I have any of Enes Kanter. Any of these other guys like Anthony Simons, JaVale McGee, well, maybe not JaVale McGee at 2 minutes. It's kind of the same situation as Derrick Jones Jr. Last thoughts on this before we move on to our next segment here.
No, man. I think we can kind of eliminate JaVale McGee from the player pool there, and for me, Kanter too. I don't know if 5,000's a good price point for the minutes that he's going to get.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to a fade here. Now, typically, I'm going to put up a graphic, and we're going to talk about this. But to me, game 1, I'm not going to go too crazy on fading anybody except for these really lower end guys. I personally, if I had to choose one guy, I'd choose Robert Covington, but that's not like some bold take. My bold take is in the captain spot. I'm in my 40 lineups. I'm fading Jokic in the captain. I know it might be stupid. I fully expect him to absolutely crush. But you got guys like you got Damian Lillard, you got CJ McCollum, and even Michael Porter Jr., who are just so low owned because all that ownership's going to Jokic. I'd rather take a shot at one of those guys and get my combinations right and really spread it out instead of wasting a couple of lineups with Jokic that are going to be super chalky. Thoughts on that? And do you have any sort of conviction play when it comes to fading somebody tonight?
No. I'm not really going to be looking to fade anybody. I think you need to be mindful of what you're going to do with Damian Lillard, though. So if you're not going to pay for him or and maybe go a different route, then you need to make sure you have CJ McCollum and a guy like Yusuf Nurkic. But I think fading Damian Lillard is also a very interesting play for deep field GPPs because he is going to be pretty chalky, just not at the captain spot. So I think those are two interesting ways to get different, playing him at captain and fading him all together.
All right, so let's look at our captain crunch graphic here. So basically what I did was I crunched 250 lineups with each one of these guys at captain. You see the highest projected points, the lowest projected points. I didn't change much of anything. When it comes to settings, I let it ride. I let the optimizer do its thing. So this gives you an idea as to why Jokic is so high owned in the captain. You're going to run into probably the most amount of dupes you see out of. I think I set this like a 20,000 or 15,000 lineup contest. You're looking at his max amount of dupes in a chalky lineups is about 33. Then you look at a guy like Damian Lillard, who is just it looks kind of average when you look at the numbers. His ceiling isn't as high as Nurkic or Jokic, but to me, that ownership and that dupe amount, it really is jumping out to me when it comes to Lillard. So what's interesting here to you? Anything jump out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's pretty on point with what we were expecting. But Aaron Gordon having one of the top ceilings is really interesting. I don't think I'd be ballsy enough to run that tonight, but it makes you kind of think at that price, you're obviously getting guys like Jokic, Lillard, and MPJ in there. So, it might be something worth looking at. And
you're always looking at, these lower price guys like Aaron Gordon or Compazzo, a lot of times those kind of guys at that price, they're going to have the highest ceiling because you could fit Jokic, Lillard, Porter, the top three big guys into the flex. So it's a little deceiving sometimes to see that. So you got to absolutely nail that. To me, I'd rather go with Lillard or, even McCollum. Am I off with going, 15-20% with McCollum at captain? We know what this guy can do.
No, I don't think that's awful. I definitely think that he has a route to get there. We've seen it a couple times over the past few weeks from a DFS perspective where Damian Lillard doesn't necessarily get there, but CJ is having a hot shooting night and ends up getting 40, 45 fantasy points. So he's viable. It's just, again, the price that you're paying for him. Like, I'd almost be more comfortable just paying 300 more and going to MPJ. I mean, he's going to have more volume shooting. He's not going to be as diluted offensively. So it's riskier because we know CJ has a certain floor, but MPJ could go out and shoot over 12 from 3 and it wouldn't shock any of us, but he could also score 40 real points. So that's kind of my stance when it comes to CJ and at captain, but I definitely think it's viable.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, obviously Jokic, you look at that floor, the ceiling, the highest projected points. If you're playing cash or if you're playing single entry, just don't overthink it. I would highly suggest playing Jokic. That's what I'm doing. I think I got a $50 single entry or something like that with like a couple hundred entries, like pretty low. So I'd rather go with Jokic when it comes to that. What are you saying, Ellie?
Yeah, I got to open the door real quick.
Oh yeah. You're good, dude. Do your thing, man. Do your thing. So we're gonna move on to our captain choices here.
Yeah. If you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
We're crowding their ass. I don't have a graphic for tonight. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I don't think there's too much controversy here. I'm going with Dame Dalla as my captain choice. I have a ton of him in my tournament entries. Ellie, what do you think, man? Are you gonna stick with Jokic if you're playing tournaments?
No, probably gonna run Damian Lillard too. I might get weird and run a couple with like Campazzo or MPJ. I think it's riskier on a night like tonight. We all know what Jokic is probably going to do from a DFS perspective tonight, right? Like we know he's probably going to have a triple double, but there's definitely money to be made by not necessarily playing the same chalk, right? Damian Lillard is not going to, like, I don't think he's going to outscore Jokic 70% of the time. So that's going to adjust my exposure.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm going to have a little bit more of Damian Lillard in the captain to kind of balance out for how often I think he's going to actually outscore Jokic, right? So again, it's easy leverage on the field, and you don't have to do something silly like outright fade Jokic or Lillard.
So I'm gonna tell you guys my captain exposure here. Out of 40 lineups, we got Dame Lillard at 35%, Nurkic at 25%, MPJ 18%, CJ 13%, and Campazzo at 10%. So I've only got like 5 captains, and that's usually how I like to do with the NBA. I like to just concentrate all my captains into guys I think are really that I think I can get some high leverage on, and then embrace the chalk and the flex. So Ellie, am I crazy? Am I crazy to have 25% Nurkic a captain and 10% Campazzo? You're muted, bro.
Oh, God damn it.
There we go.
Yeah, no, I don't think you are, man. I like Campazzo. He could easily end up with a double-double just from assists and some quick points, right? So that stuff counts, especially at the savings that you get him at. You can play Dame, CJ, Jokic probably in the same lineup and not have to get too much crazier than that, right? So I don't think you're crazy running a guy like Campazzo in there. And again, it's easy leverage on the field. You don't have to even get too risky, but in your case, you're doing it on purpose, right? You're covering all the bases of the potential failure of Jokic, a captain. So I think it's high upside.
All right, let's get ready. Do you have a lineup HQ up? Let's go ahead and hand build some lineups here for everybody.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
You might lose my camera here. I got to switch my battery on my camera, so you might lose me, but just keep on going. So we're going to hand build some lineups here for a little bit, guys. We're a little ahead of schedule. We've got about 30 minutes to lock. I don't know if we're going to need to go all the way up to lock, but we will wait for hopefully these lineups will be released in the next 10 minutes or so. We can confirm that. I'm going to switch over to your stream here.
And if we wrap up early and questions come up or whatever, we can just hop in the Discord too. Chat it out.
Yeah. All right.
I really need to get these updated rosters though. I want to see the lineup.
Yeah, let's build the chalk. I want to see what the chalk is. See what we got here. Can you command plus or something zoom in a little bit? There we go. That might help everybody. And then scroll down just a tad. Yeah, there we go.
Jokic, Shaq Harrison, Malo, Campazzo, MPJ, Nurkic.
Yeah, Shaq Harrison, 57% owned. It's interesting. Osmo's telling me he's like, a half of that. So I'm not really sure. That's a big gap.
I think I honestly, let's see. 42. Let me refresh, see if they updated with Austin Rivers. Because I'm with you on that one. That's a little bit high. But again, if he's going to get 15 to 17 minutes for 1K, like it's not terribly risky. Shaq Harrison, they still got him at the same thing.
Look, at that ownership, I'm totally comfortable just not playing him. But I absolutely you can go even above the field. I think both is right. I think you just need to make a decision one way or another and not kind of be right in the middle of the road with it.
So my concern with this optimal here is Melo and Nurkic is our representation from Portland.
I hate that.
Yeah,
I hate that. Look, my game script tonight is this is a relatively close game, and Portland just runs away with it in the fourth. That's how I'm building, and I think that's how the game will go. I could be completely wrong, but I'm making a stand on it. And if that's the case, there's no way that Lillard and McCollum aren't going to be in the optimal. I mean, even if McCollum scores 35 fantasy points, which is not great for him, I think he'll still be in the optimal.
So this is probably what we're going to see a lot of for people with Jokic and Dame, with Jokic at captain, right?
Got it. Yep.
Some variation of this.
I'm okay with that actually. As a cash, you know what? I'm actually going to change my cash lineup to that.
I don't hate it. Oh shit, man! Jabari Parker might win me some money in the showdown though.
Oh yeah, well, how's he doing? What's he got?
I mean, he's only got 13 points, but at 1K and 1.5%, I'm in 10th place.
That's all you need. There you go, dude.
It's the end of the third. Let's see. I might have just jinxed it. All right, so
leave that up real quick. Leave that up.
Yeah,
I actually had the lineup without Dame, and I don't like that at all. I really don't. So we're fading MPJ on this one.
Yeah, that's fine though. I mean, I think you have to have Dame or CJ, right?
You have to, unless you think this is an absolute blowout in the third quarter and Denver's up by 30 points, but I just don't see that happening. Harrison. Okay. Good old Shaq Harrison from the Bulls. That's all I remember him from. I kind of forgot he was even on Denver. All right, so let's start building. And guys in the chat, if you guys want to see a certain build, a certain captain, you want to get weird with it and hit us up. Let us know how you want to build. But for now, let's do a Dame Dollar at captain.
Great minds think alike. No, absolutely not. What the fuck? I'm not comfortable playing that much Jermichael Green.
Let's do a 4-2 Portland. Let's say Portland crushes in the fourth, and they end up winning by 15 points or 10 points or something like that. Let's do a 4-2 Portland.
Okay, so I think the two Jokic, Campazzo.
We got a lineup here. You ready?
Yeah.
Campazzo, Rivers, Gordon, Porter Jr., Jokic. No surprises. So Campazzo and Rivers will be starting.
And
does that do anything for you?
Campazzo's at point guard. Yeah. I mean, not really. It doesn't change anything, right? Because I was expecting him to start at point.
Yeah.
But
I just don't love Austin Rivers. I just don't love him.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Campazzo's really projected for 30%, I know that he's pricey, but he's the point guard, right? Like, I mean, let's see some of his recent production, right? 9.5 points. I mean, that's not great, but what is that?
13 minutes.
Yeah, 13 minutes.
So
look at this. 21, 27, 36, 30, 47, 34.
Get there. I'm actually pretty comfortable playing him. I never thought I'd say that, but I'm pretty comfortable with going above the field in Campazzo.
Yeah, well, at 30%, you don't even have to do much, too. I mean, running 40 to 50% is fine.
Yeah.
What is Gordon doing in here?
Let's talk about our. So let's do a 4-2. So if my game script kind of happens the way I think it will, you got to go Lillard. Can we fade CJ?
Okay.
I mean, let's do that. Let's do that in this particular lineup.
And
so if we CJ, who benefits the most? I want to go with Melo.
I think it's Melo who benefits the most. CJ
and yeah, exactly. But I don't know that we can really go after. Can we go after a Nurkic at 9.2K? I don't think we can. I think we got to go to the bench again for Portland. So is there anybody that you're comfortable playing off the bench? Can we go with a Norman Powell at 7.4K? What does that leave us? 2,100?
Yeah, then we would have to either do that to keep 4-2. And I'm not comfortable running Simons and Powell.
Yeah, me neither. 4-2 is going to be hard to build. I mean, that's a hard build. So I think you got to punt again for Portland. You got to go Dame, Melo. Can you avoid Campazzo? Let's do this. Let's avoid Campazzo and let's go down to our 1K dude. Good old Shaq Harrison. So what does that leave us? We can go with a Nurkic. We can go with a Covington if we wanted.
I mean, that gives 6,100 remaining. So, yeah, Covington.
Actually. But I look. I personally just don't see this lineup being. I don't like the lineup. I mean, Denver with Jokic and Shaq Harrison. That's it. I just don't see it happening. Me personally.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Let's see. These are some awkward lineups, man.
It's super awkward, man. That's why Shaq Harrison's 57% owned because it's just hard to build anything. I think Monty Morris is the guy that we're kind of forgetting about because he's 2,800, not as appealing, and he's right underneath what JaMychal Green is. I'd rather go with Monty Morris than Green. Morris at least touching the ball more often.
Let's see, 3,700.
So we got Lillard, Rivers, Carmelo, McCollum, Harrison, Jokic. It's a 3-3. That's not bad, actually.
Lillard, McCollum, Powell, Covington, Nurkic starting.
Interesting.
As expected. You know what?
Let's try something a little crazy. What are we going to do?
I want to try something with. I want to do something Dame captain, Jokic, and MPJ.
Yeah, let's do that. Give me a second. My camera died here. Stand by.
I actually really like this lineup. Did I already submit this? I think I did, actually. Yeah, I did. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to do another entry. Something else. Let's run a 229 and see what happens with the Composite captain. What can we get? I don't want Norman Powell. And if we're doing this, we need Damian Lillard. It's me 5,200. Okay. It's 1,800. That doesn't help me. What can we get instead of Shaq Harrison? Maybe Shaq Harrison, I guess, and Austin Rivers. I don't like running that many of those guards, though. No, we're doing it. Shaq Harrison, Austin Rivers. There we go. I guess the next guy we're going to need to build with is Michael Porter Jr., right?
All right, I'm back. What did I miss?
Just did a build with Compazzo, a captain.
How is it?
I like it. I mean,
that's not bad.
Yeah, it's a lot of well, shit. It's a 5-1, so I probably need to fix that.
Oh, dude, get rid of Rivers. Don't you think?
Yeah, the pricing landed on him. So, oh well, I guess I could have just gone here then, huh? And put MPJ back in.
I really like Melo tonight, man.
Carmelo Anthony.
We haven't really fucked with Nurkic at all tonight.
Yeah, I think he can crush, man. Like, I do think he's in a good spot, but like, he's expensive too, and I think he's priced to be chalky.
I'm excited to get to game 2, game 3, game 4 of these series because we're really going to just know where things are going,
Yeah, we're going to know how these people are going to start building their rotations because everything's going to be so much more condensed.
Yeah. And I'm so excited for the playoffs because we don't have to worry about these weird last-minute changes. Probably not going to be a ton of blowouts. There might be a few, but not a million like we dealt with all year. All right. Let's do a CJ McCollum, captain.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, yeah, I like that, actually.
This isn't terrible. Carmelo, Shaq Harrison, CJ, MPJ, Nurkic, Jokic.
All right, I'm putting my money where my mouth is here. I'm going to enter this one.
Yeah, let me see if we got a cheap contest for this one, too.
Is there anything open here? We have 15 minutes. There should be something.
Dude, people have been... and when I say people, I mean me. I've been DJing gambling these showdowns. Jokic.
Ooh, the $15 still open. There might be some overlay on that. FYI, 5K for. We're at about there's 1,100 entries, and we're at there's 1,500 total. So that's interesting. All right, I'm gonna enter that. Screw it.
Okay. Do you still need this up?
Yeah, just for 1 second.
Okay.
So once again, guys, we appreciate you watching us. What's your schedule like tomorrow, Ellie? Do you want to do the Suns game tomorrow? It's like 3 p.m. Eastern. Are you?
I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to, man. That's too early for me.
Well, I wonder if there's a late night hammer tomorrow. Maybe we'll figure it out. We're trying to do a couple a week here. And obviously when football comes back, we're going to be doing that every showdown again. MPJ. Oh, we faded Lillard here, huh?
Yeah, that's the scary thing about this lineup.
Well, screw it. 13 minutes to lock. Let's do a CJ when you're done with this. Let's do a CJ lineup. See what we got to do to make that happen. I get why Shaq Harrison's so popular. Apparently, I'm really curious to see what his ownership will actually be. I think it'll probably fall around like 25 to 30%.
This is interesting.
Morris.
But this isn't terrible. CJ, Shaq, Monty Morris, MPJ, Nurkic, Jokic.
I mean, you can argue that if McCollum is the optimal captain, Dame probably didn't have as good of a game as he should at that price tag.
Yeah, I agree. I think people overplay the negative correlation there. I think it's more dependent upon Damian Lillard's pricing. So I think CJ is. I think he's a very valid captain because Damian Lillard he's always a little bit more expensive than he should be since CJ's been back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can. I personally would love to have a CJ, Melo, Dame lineup.
Let's see.
You're about 10,000 over salary there, bro.
There we go. All right. CJ, Shaq, Melo, Aaron Gordon. Get out of here.
Hey, man, I don't mind Aaron Gordon, dude. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but we're talking playoffs.
Sure, 40%. It's not that risky if he's really projected for that high of ownership. I mean,
I'm doing another one of these.
All right. Enter that, and then I need to build an MPJ.
All right, let's do that. Hang on real quick. Harrison, Carmelo. We're just two dudes hanging out, building lineups together. That's all we're doing. Gordon.
All right, I'll answer that.
All right, go do your thing, bro. I got it.
Okay. All right, MPJ captain. Yeah, I don't hate this. MPJ, Shaq Harrison, Monty Morris, CJ, Nurkic, Jokic.
All right, humor me here. Fade Jokic. See what happens. X him out. That's scary. Let's see what happens if we fade Jokic. Nurkic? Really? I hate that lineup. That's a terrible lineup.
Dude, yeah, this is
That's
pretty
terrible.
bad.
It's terrible. Let's do okay. So MPJ, no Jokic in the flex. We got about 10 minutes, FYI, guys. And then go with Monty Morris or Compazzo. Like do a 3-3 without Jokic, which is basically suicide. I fully understand that, but let's see what happens.
I mean, let's see. I'm gonna put in
if Jokic sucks ass, what's the path to that happening?
probably to Michael Green or Millsap. I don't know, man.
Well, let me ask you this: what if Jokic gets into a little foul trouble against Nurkic? Like maybe Nurkic is crushing or something. I don't know. I don't know how that would happen.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. I mean, this is frightening. This is frightening
Absolutely.
territory.
Good.
But again, you only need to do 1 or 2 lineups like this. I mean, if it works, it works. Oh, here you go.
Mellow. Oh, bro.
MPJ, Compazzo, Michael Green, Dane.
I don't love
Nurkic.
JaMychal Green. Is there anybody else besides JaMychal that we can get? Just
Shaq Harrison.
Is that it?
No. Let's see.
Leave 2,200 on the table.
Monty Morris.
That's a 4. That's a. Oh, it's a 3-3. Dude, you're gonna make. Oh God, I gotta enter this one too.
You crazy asshole.
You're gonna make me. I'm gonna lose some money tonight, but you know it is what it is. MPJ, Dame, Compazzo, Monty. Such a strange lineup that
Yeah.
it's so bad that it's good. Carmelo. There goes another $15. All right, guys. Hit us up in the chat here. Ellie, do you want to build anything else?
I'm pretty much built out, man.
Yeah. This is interesting. I hate Denver for DFS, by the way. It's not easy, but we'll see what happens. Anything? No, go ahead, bro.
No, I need to see how much Robert Williams I ended up with on my main slate.
He's crushing.
Yeah.
Any bold takes here for you?
No, not really. I think Jokic scores like 75 fantasy points tonight. That might be my bold take, but I also think Damian Lillard will score like 65. So there we go. Those are my bold takes. Yes, I do.
I'm gonna say Melo gets you 40 plus fantasy points tonight.
Okay.
I think happen. And I think CJ has a little bit of an off night. I think Melo, maybe CJ gets in foul trouble. Melo gets a few extra shots, and it goes. You know, CJ's not in the optimal, and Melo is.
That's very possible.
That's it, guys. We appreciate you. Subscribe. Hit us up on Twitter. Join the Discord. We're back at it. We're doing showdowns. We're doing NBA showdowns. Nobody else is really doing this, so show us some support. We really appreciate it. Throw us a like on the way out. Helps us out a lot. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. We will see you soon. See you later.